I think I've lost my mind this month. Alrighty then, let's get to it. It is that time of the month where I am now going to create my TBR. If you didn't see it, I have a TBR game that I created that I did a test run for in my month in a making vlog where I vlogged my experience leading up to the launch of my channel. It is TBR Mancala, so I play Mancala and I get TBR based off of it. I did go ahead and I did film that yesterday. And I realized last night when I, like after I filmed it, I didn't tell you guys how I play it exactly because I was like, oh, I explained it in the first one. I don't need to explain it in this one. However, that was in a very long, like hour-long vlog, so I should probably tell you. I basically play by the regular rules, except, of course, I forgot something. Ooh. Except instead of the glass beads that I have these little books that I created out of clay, and some of them have numbers, and the numbers correspond to a prompt. And so I have 9 books, so out of the 48, 9 of them have a number on it. So I go through before I play the game and I just write down 9 of the books, and then I write down a book for me. So if I win, that's the book that I read, and then if I lose and the house wins, then the house has a book. So I will go ahead and I will play the footage from last night when I played the game, and then I will go in, kind of talk to you about what books I had, what I ended up getting, and then what my TBR looks like for the rest of this month, because I'm participating in some readathons, and so it's a little chaotic. And yeah, chaotic's the right word. So as I said in the intro, I am filming the actual game itself the night before because I will be participating in the Sunrise on the Readathon reading challenge, and I'm just trying to plan ahead. I'm also just participating in Herkiad 2.0 again this year, so I'm just trying to figure out readathon, so I'm just trying to give myself an extra night to think about it. But I'm going to quit jibber jabbering and I'm just going to speed run through this and see what I end up with. And once again, the house wins. So that is super surprising, but you know what? I'll take it. I was running under the assumption, obviously, this one is me, this one is a house, so this is me, this was my bank, so these are the ones we're going to look at for our TBR. So hopefully that you saw, I haven't gone back and watched it yet, but I got only 3 numbered books, which is great for my TBR because that's going to allow me a lot of freedom. And that being said, my TBR is actually insane this month. So the numbers that I had picked out were 3, 4, and 5. These are just the ones that naturally occurred. So when I had gone through and I was writing out my TBR, I put some books that I knew I'd already wanted to read based off of the readathons that I'm participating in that I'll tell you about in just a moment, and then also books that I have coming in. So I pre-ordered 3 books, so those 3 are on here, and just some other books. For me, so you'll see these orange ones. These are the books that are left over from last month's TBR that I did not get to. And I don't necessarily have to read them, but this is just a way for me to kind of keep myself accountable of, hey, I said I was going to read these books. I was excited to read these books, or I was reading them for a reason. Why are you not reading them? And so it's just a way for me to kind of keep track of them, to kind of check in. So that being said, if I won, I was going to make sure that I did good. And one of the books that I didn't get to is actually one of those books. I unfortunately lost. The house one. So it is not. However, based off of the 3 books that were chosen, I'm actually really happy about that. So let me dig through my chaos This is definitely going to be a video that is going to be edited more than planned, but that's okay. I'm going to dig through and figure out where my books are that I need. Alrighty, so for the first book that I'm supposed to be reading for book number 3, I am supposed to be reading Three Shattered Souls by Corland? May Corland, haha. I'm going to put a picture up here if I have not already. So where is that? This over here. So this shelf right here, I have books 1 and 2 that I have read this year. Absolutely loved them. Book 3 comes out on July 15th, I believe. Yeah, July 15th. So that'll be coming. So I will be reading that once it comes in, which is part of my reading plans anyway, the way like I like to keep myself accountable. It's a book that I would have to read anyways. And then coming in on July 22nd, this one, I'm hoping with my TBR, like with the readathons that I'm doing, hopefully I'll get to it. But for book number 4, it is the next book that's going to be delivered, and that is Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. I believe, yep, Elise Kova. I have another one of her books way up here hidden. That book is coming out on the 22nd. That is, I believe, like a dark academia a book. I unfortunately am recording on my phone and I didn't think to verify, like reread the synopsis, but I'm like 98% certain it's like a dark academia book, and I'm really excited about that one. The Three Shattered Souls is the third book in the series by May Corland, so don't really want to spoil anything but it's a romantasy. It's great. I absolutely love it. And then for book number 5, I'm kind of like rushing through this because there's a ton of books by me, so I don't want this video to be a million years long. So if you have any questions about any of these books, feel free to ask me in the comments below and I'll answer them. But for book number 5, I chose Life and Death, and I am so excited about this because I'm also going to use this to talk about, because The House Won, the book that I also am reading, is I Accidentally Hooked Up with a Vampire. This is by Jessica Cage. Life and Death is by Stephanie Meyer. I will be reading both of these, and I am really excited for these ones because I am participating in the Sunrise on the Readathon reading challenge by Katie Colson here on YouTube. I will have her tagged below and whatnot. There is a Discord. Feel free to join us. I am so excited for this readathon. And there are different kind of like prompts depending like for the battles for the weeks and whatnot. And so for this book, this was all on the TBR that I wanted to read along with Midnight Sun. Now this one is really chunky, so we'll see if I get to this. But if like I'm just like on a roll, both of these are on my list for banned books. So Battle 2, I believe, I wrote it like on a piece of paper as well, like when I was at my mom's house, just trying to like think of like which books I wanted to read. So yes, Battle 2 are banned or challenged books, and Twilight, and I believe all the subsequent books have been banned or challenged somewhere in the world. So these will give me bonus points. So this also being on my TBR is perfect because I get to prioritize that. And also, I purposely put this one on because it's thinner than this one. So, but it's Stephanie Meyer. I grew up on these, like this series, so I know I'm going to be able to read through both of these pretty quickly. But these are this one, and then we'll go back and do the rest of the books, like filling in a second. But since I'm already here, we're gonna talk about, since The House Won, I am reading I Accidentally Hooked Up with a Vampire. I believe I'm going to be reading this one. I could be reading this during 2 different weeks. We'll see how the time falls. I could be reading this for the Battle 3, which is the marginalized author. So basically, they could be potentially marginalized in any way, shape, or form. It counts. Jessica Cage is a Black woman, so she does fall under the category of marginalized author. So I will get bonus points for this book. So I will be reading this. I also could be reading it during the 5th battle, which is 10,000 ratings or less. So as of when I created this TBR, this book does not have 10,000 ratings. I don't remember how many it has on there, but I don't even think it has 500. Either way, I'm really excited about this. Apparently, this is like the second book in the series, but I think they're all like independent, like intercollected standalones or whatever. I think the first one is something about hooking up with a demon. This one's a vampire. I'm obsessed with vampires. If you couldn't tell, I had a theme going. I didn't plan it this way, but it worked. So those are the books that I am reading that were off of my TBR Mancala game. Now to get to my Sunrise on the Readathon TBR. Also, I am going to be participating in Herculean 2.0. I did attempt it last year, like completely failed that so early on in the year, but I'm trying part 2. So any of these books that qualify for those prompts, which most of them do qualify somewhere, I will be reading those. So first off, the original Hunger Games series. These are the books that I read when I was in school. You can kind of see how the pages are slightly yellowed. Like, let's pull up another book. Here, Touch of Darkness. This one's newer. And you can kind of see that page, like that coloring difference a little bit. Like, these ones are definitely older. I also got rid of the dust jackets years ago, just because I liked the look of the naked hardbacks. And so mine are naked. That's okay. During the Hunger Games, I'm just going to refer to it as the Hunger Games Readathon. I know that is not the actual name. I believe there is actually a Hunger Games Readathon going on for the Sunrise on the Readathon one, whatever. And if you read any of the Hunger Games books during the challenge, that also counts as bonus points. So I will be reading these during the first week, I believe. So I'm going to be rereading these. I'm really excited. I'm pretty sure I reread these on my channel already in a hidden video somewhere. But I don't really remember my reread as an adult. So I'm excited to reread these. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I also think I have a couple books that I don't physically own that I did request or already have like out from my library. So these aren't even all of the books that I may potentially read. I would like to point out these are all technically maybe reads, not technically to be read. If I could read this many books in a year, especially seeing the stack that I have here on the ground, if I can read all of this in 1 month, this will be a new personal record for me. And I originally read the entire Twilight series, I think in 3 or 4 days in high school. And then the other very popular fantasy series for Harry Potter. I read that entire series while in school, still doing schoolwork and paying attention to one. I read that entire thing in like a week. I don't know how I did that either, but I did. So if I could do all of this in a month, it's going to be impressive, and you're really going to see why later. Before we keep going on, I should mention that I do have the books that are left over from last month. I am pulling these in because I do still want to read these, and they do all count. So first off, if we're going by the prompts, these could also, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if any of these have been banned or challenged. It's possible. 10,000 ratings or less. It's possible. I have no clue. But I do know for a fact all of these would work for the marginalized authors. So again, you saw these last months there, technically carrying over, but that is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I am working my way through her backlog. I own almost all of her books now. I will not be buying Problematic Summer Romance just because I'm not a fan of age gap romances. There's nothing wrong with them. I just personally am not a fan. So I have limited shelf space. But yes, Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, marginalized author. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, marginalized author. Swordcross by Freya Merks, marginalized author. Also, like, I would argue that this book has probably been banned simply because it's because it's a gay romance. So probably there too. We'll get there. Hopefully an audiobook. So I have the audiobooks for Swordcross and Not in Love requested from my library. Hopefully those come in during this challenge. If not, I'll be reading them next month. But that's okay. We're gonna go with this next stack, just so I can kind of get this out of the way. If you have noticed, I didn't mention anything about Battle for you, and that is for translated books. So I am going to be reading a ton of like mangas and graphic novels and all of that probably during that week, because I don't own a lot of translated books. To my knowledge, I could be very wrong, but to my knowledge, I don't own many. And all of the mangas and graphic novels that we already own, I've already read them. So I want to try to, branch out and support my local library, because supporting your local library is absolutely amazing. So first off, I have 3 Exorcism siblings. I like briefly also looked through all of these, making sure I like the writings, like the way they're written and the art style and all that, because I'm a little bit picky sometimes. And this one is a Japanese. It was originally written in Japanese, so I'm going to be reading this. If I can, I will be also getting more volumes of this. If I do end up liking it after the first volume, I will end up getting more. I should probably figure that out before that week, because I don't know if they'll come in that fast. But I do have Full Metal Alchemist. I did go through and I basically requested pretty much the entire series from the library. I do think some of them will be here. I technically have read the first 4 volumes because I own those. I have also watched the entire show, but I do want to rewatch it. And so we're just gonna, we're gonna work our way through that too. But anyways, we're just gonna go about what I have physically on me right now. I also have The Country Without Humans, volumes 1 and 2. I don't know what language these were originally written in at all, but there is a translation. Oh, it does say Japanese style, so it could be Japanese, but it does say there is a translator. So these were translated into English. I don't know what language. I will find out by the time I read this, because I will be doing a reading vlog. But yes, The Country Without Humans, volumes 1 and 2, I looked through it. I thought it was really cute, kind of like a dystopian sci-fi kind of book, or like manga. And, fits in with Hunger Games. Like, that's the dystopian of all dystopians. And, like, I was obsessed with dystopians. I have multiple dystopians, but, like, Hunger Games is the dystopian. Let's be real. Next up, I have Record of Ragnarok, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Also, I checked out all of these before the prompts and the battles were announced. So, props to Pastlex for just, doing what she does best and just, like, hoarding a ton of books and getting a million mangas and graphic novels when you're at the library, even though you have a bajillion books at your home. Because these are fun to read too. And, I like to break it up. So, these are 3 volumes that I'm reading. And I don't fully 100% know exactly what they are, like how to describe them, but just from briefly looking at it, it's kind of like all of the gods. So, not just like the Greek gods, but like all of the gods everywhere, basically, are kind of almost in this like giant pantheon where like they talk and whatnot, and they're going to have a Ragnarok against the humans to basically see if the humans are going to survive, or if all of the gods are going to basically blow them up and try to start again. So I have 3 novels or volumes of this. I believe there are more, so I could also get more during that week. We'll see. Next up, I have A Man and His Cat. I know for a fact volumes 1 and 2 are currently at my library waiting for me to pick them up. Hopefully 3 is there as well. If not, hopefully it comes in time, because I have volumes 4, 5, and 6. Don't ask me why I got 4, 5, and 6 when I hadn't even read any of them. But 1, 2, and at least 1 and 2 are already here. And I believe these are Japanese as well, I think. I really should know these. Either way, it does say translation. So I know it was translated. I just don't know. Aha, it says first published in Japan. So these were Japanese. It's one of those things where if my library says whether they're mangas or manhwas, like, I don't quite know if they do. And if they do, then that is no. I think they just mark them as graphics, like graphic novels. So I will for sure, like, obviously double check all of this information in that vlog. But I just know a lot of the mangas, because manga is Japanese, so I do know a lot of them are in Japanese, whereas manhwas are Korean. I am looking into seeing if I can find some Korean, like manhwas and whatnot that I can read, so we'll find out by the time we get to that one. But, woo! All right, I have multiple stacks going on the floor right now. So those are the translated books that I physically have right now. Next up is, we're going to go back to Battle 2, which is banned or challenged books. And there are two books in particular that I've pulled out. Again, I could also read any of the Twilight ones. I have other books that I could read, and I might. I very well might. But at the very least, these two. And that is 1984 by George Orwell and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I have already read technically both of these in like high school. I don't really remember much about them, but I know that they've been banned recently. And there have always kind of been issues with these books, like people having issues with these books. And so I am one of those people who believes that, if they're banning it for a reason, and it's something they don't want us to know. So I'm going to figure out what that reason is. And of course I just got a notification that my phone is about to die. Let me plug in my phone. We'll pick up here in a second. Slight change in camera angle simply because my phone charger can only reach so far. But yes, I want to read both of these. I may end up listening to them via audiobook. I am hoping I could do that because that'll make this a lot easier. And audiobooks are going to be my friend during this challenge. More so than they usually are. But yes, like I said, I've technically read these before. This will be a reread. However, they're not marked read on my Goodreads, so it's all good. But yes, these are two of the banned books that I am hoping to get to. Honestly, there are probably a lot more books on my shelves that have been banned or challenged somewhere that I can read. And again, these are just for bonus points. I can read whatever and have them still count. I just would like to, try to aim for the bonus points. So it's all good. I totally missed this one. The Monster and the Last Blood Match. This was from last month. I did start reading it. You can see I did start. I am only at chapter 2, but I did start. So this one is definitely something that I will be continuing as well. And if it takes me that long and I get into the marginalized author week, she is also a marginalized author, so it counts. Speaking of marginalized authors, we have one more stack. I will say these two. Also, we're going to do these two first. So these two also would count for the 10,000 ratings or less. So I could potentially wait. The first one we're going to go with is the Grimoire Grammar School Parent-Teacher Association by Caitlin Rozakis. This is a new book for me. I got this when I was selling my books at Half Price Books this past month. I saw this. I thought it was cute. I read it. Absolutely loved it. It sounds basically just kind of like a cozy fantasy where this mom's 6-year-old. No, kindergartner. So yeah, 5-6-year-old gets bit by a werewolf, and all of a sudden she's now thrust into this world of dealing with, a child who has, paranormal, tendencies and whatnot, and how that school is different and all that. And it sounded super cute. And so I'm really excited to read this one. So I'm not going to lie. This one was on my TBR Mancala TBR, and it just didn't get selected, but it's still made its way onto my TBR. It's just not officially. So if I don't get to it, it technically doesn't have to roll over. Minor details. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. The next book that also has under 10,000 ratings that is by a marginalized author is A.K. Mulford's A River of Golden Bones. This is the first book in I believe this is their traditionally published series. They also have, they have indie published. They're contemporary romances, which I do also want to read. I definitely will for sure be reading them for the Herkyed animal prompts. If you know, you know. But A.K. Mulford is part of the LGBTQ community. They use she, they pronouns. They are a marginalized author. So, marginalized author and has less than 10,000 ratings. The reason why I've also pulled this is I am also going to hopefully be participating in the second round of 3K30, the 30 days and that was so backwards. 30K in 3 days, the 3-day 30K challenge. I don't know why my brain was struggling with that. That should be basically starting by the time you see this today. I think. Or it's already started. I think it's today, though. I think when you're seeing this, it starts today. If it started yesterday, you can still join us. I'll leave AK's information down below as well, again, as Katie's both. And also, I believe it's Stephanie at QWordy for the Herc. I'll also leave all that information down below. So if you guys are interested, you are more than welcome to join me. But yes, if I haven't said this to anyone, but there is a chance I actually may not end up participating in the second round. That's for a different video. But if I don't, I will for sure be participating in the third round, which is happening in August. So, either way, writing challenges, beginning of July, also in August. Check the videos, all that information. Fun jazz. We're not here for the writing stuff today. And then 2 more books that I have by marginalized authors. So, I have A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair, marginalized author. Also, I would be very surprised if this was also not banned or challenged somewhere because it's a dark romance. It's a Hades and Persephone's retelling. Like, they're literally named Hades and Persephone. So, yes. So, this is also on my TBR, as well as King of Greed by Anna Wong. So, I technically could put all of my books by Anna Wong on this, and I kind of want to, because I am also, like Hallie Hazelwood, I am also working my way through Anna Wong's novels. So, marginalized author, working my way through these. I'm really excited, and I also have access to most of her books through KU, I believe. So I can have ebooks of these, so I don't have to just read them physically. So I have more options. Speaking of more options, audiobooks are going to be a huge lifesaver during the Sunrise on the Readathon reading challenge. I will do my best to find audiobooks for books I haven't read that also fit the bonus prompts. However, if I can't, I have a backup. And this backup is insane, and here's why. I'm going to be rereading the Superpowered series by Drew Hayes. All 4 books, and potentially the spinoff, which is Corpies, but we're just going to hold up the main 4 for now. This is 4 books. You can see why my TBR is massive. This last book, and mind you, I did listen to all of these via audiobook the first time I listened to these. My husband introduced me to these. These are like joint, we shared custody basically of these books. We both love the series. But this last book, I believe, is 60 hours long. I'm pretty certain. It's like over 1,000. I think it's like over 1,000 pages for this last one. So yes, 1,017 pages for the last one. Each book, subsequently gets thicker, as you can see as we work down our way back to the first one. So these books we own on audiobook. So I know that I can listen to these via audiobook and get some extra page counts in, because even the first one, which I look at this and I'm like, oh, that's like a pretty big book, but then I'm like, also in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. This is 542 pages, and this is the smallest one. So this would definitely be a lot of points if I could get through all of these audiobooks for this readathon. But like I said, we already own these audiobooks, and so these would be rereads, so I can listen to them at the higher speeds and whatnot and just enjoy it and revisit this world. It's going to be beautiful and great. I've been wanting to reread these anyways. But yes, I'm going to, again, prioritize everything else you've already seen, because I've already read these books. However, the fact that these books are on my lap and I am touching them and you can see my hands still is absolutely insane. There's so many pages on these 4 books, but I'm so excited. These are such good books. I haven't even told you what they're about. I am so bad at this thing. You would think that I'm better at this because I've watched BookTube for well over a decade, I think, at this point. I created my first BookTube video 5-6 years ago. You would think I know what I'm doing, but I don't. Don't let anybody fool you. Most people on this app have no clue what they're doing. Anyways, Superpowers by Drew Hayes. Trying to figure, I'm trying to think, because my go-to description of how I pitch this to my nerd friends is that this is if you watch anime or read mangas, My Hero Academia, it's kind of like if you take My Hero Academia, but you make it for college. And that's kind of how I pitched this series. Um, but there's a world where people have superpowers. Not everybody, but a lot. It's, they just live in a world of superpowers. However, there are some people who don't have control of their powers, and so they are called powards. And this book follows five, six, 5.5. We'll just leave it at that. They follow like 5.5, 6 people um, who don't have control of their powers, and basically they kind of agree to basically undergo an experiment by the government to basically become supers, and so that's where they become superpowers. But yeah, it's just basically these kids learning how to control their powers in like college and whatnot. It's a good series. I'm not pitching it well, but the fact that like I'm voluntarily wanting to reread this massive series should tell you a little bit something. But yeah, my easy pitch is My Hero Academia, but make it college. Um, it's like that's the short and easy version. But yeah, I'm really excited to eventually delve back into these, and this would be a great time. So, anyways, this TBR is massive. Um, and I start all of this tomorrow. So I am filming this on the last day of June. Um, I haven't decided. I mean, this video should go up on Wednesday. So by the time you're seeing this video, hopefully one of these books have already been completed, because my challenge would have already started. So I'm obviously starting this on the 1st, but yeah, I'm super excited about all of this, and I would love to know if you guys are participating in any of the challenges that I am participating. So Sunrise on the Readathon, Herkyed 2.0, or the 3K 30-day writing challenge. I would love to know if you are participating in any of that. But that is it for this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.